Metatheria is one of two mammalian clades, the other being Eutheria, with extant members that diverged in the Early Cretaceous or perhaps the Late Jurassic, and which includes all mammals more closely related to marsupials than to placentals. First proposed by Thomas Henry Huxley in 1880, it is a slightly more inclusive group than the marsupials. It contains all of the living mammals with abdominal pouches as well as the more primitive ancestors and relatives. Metatherians are one of three main classes of extant mammals: monotremes, Metatheria, and the four Australasian orders, and the eutherians consisting of 21 orders, divided into four superorders. Metatherians belong to a subgroup of the northern tribosphenic mammal clade Boreosphenida. They differ from all other mammals in certain morphologies like the dental formula, which includes about 5 upper and 4 lower incisors, a canine, 3 premolars, and 4 molars. Other morphologies include skeletal and anterior dentition, such as wrist and ankle apomorphies. All Metatherians share derived pedal characters and calcaneal features. Phylogeny. Below is a cladogram from after McKenna and Amp, Bell 1997, Demuizon, Cephali and Amp, Sayspieds 1997, and Sally and Amp, Trophim of 1996, showing one hypothesis of mammal relationships. Basal Metatheria Archaeonopthos Hank Godel P. Beck 2015. Du Ketachnes Cooley Sargent and Amp, Fulborn 1986, Marsupialipida, Estes Lestes Ensis Novacek al. 1991, Gamidtherium diamansis Sanchez Villagre al. 2007, Casarinotherium tunisiense Crochet 1989, Numagilgra and Yelandelia Beck al. 2008, Numagilja Beck al. 2008, Palangania Brand Marigoine al. 1998, Paradelphias Cochinenskoine al. 1999, Ameridelphia incerticetus, Adeladelphias muizoni Cephali 2004. Apostad onexiguus Davis 2007, Cocatherium lefipanum Goine al. 2006, Decotadens Morrow Eaton 1993, Ayuga mortiferen Thoringtoni Cephali 1990b, Marambiotherium glacialis Goine al. 1999, Pascal Delphias fieroensis, Pragazonia notostylopen Samiguino 1904, Protalphodone Cephali 1990 P. Lale Cephali 1990A, P. Foxy Johnson 1996, Sinbadelphias Schmidt Cephali 2004, Marsupialia incerticetus, Atabradelphias Camposi Marshall and Amp, Demuizon 1984, Malmasopsis Duradoi Paulacadu 1962, Misquidelphias Pilpinensis Marshall and Amp, Demuizon 1988, Oetlianus Oliger 1811, Evolutionary History. The relationships between the three extant divisions of mammals was long a matter of debate among taxonomists. Most morphological evidence comparing traits, such as the number and arrangement of teeth and the structure of the reproductive and waste elimination systems, favors a closer evolutionary relationship between marsupials and placental mammals than either has with the monotremes, as does most genetic and molecular evidence. Around the end of the Triassic period, a theropsid developed traits or characters that are diagnostic of the class Mammalia. This class gave rise to multituberculata, Triconodonta and Symmetrodonta. However, these are not seen after the end of the Early Cretaceous, and by the Late Cretaceous marsupials and placentals had evolved from a common Eupantaltherian ancestor. The Mammalia class probably probably saw its first eutherian in the early Cretaceous whole biota in China called Acrostatherium yanensis. This eutherian was determined to be the most basal based on a phylogenetic analysis that used a data matrix of many other species. Metatherians probably evolved to take advantage of open arboreal niches. Adaptive radiation of marsupials excluded competition with the terrestrial placental counterparts. Fossil Metatherians are distinguished from eutherians by the form of the teeth. Metatherians possess 4 pairs of molar teeth in each jaw, whereas eutherian mammals never have more than 3 pairs. Using this criterion, the earliest known Metatherian is Sinodelphius salei, which lived in China around 125 million years ago. This 2003 study presents a new fossil from the early Cretaceous Yixian Formation in China called Sinodelphius salei that gives enough morphological data to possibly be a basal Metatherian in its didelphid-like morphology. It shares derived traits, such as dental formation and wrist and ankle structures. The fossil is about 125 million years old, making it one of the oldest Metatherian fossils found and gives support to the claim that Asia was probably the center for diversification during the early Cretaceous. The researchers hypothesize that the divergence of Metatheria from Eutheria occurred in Asia no later than 125 million years ago, followed by the evolution of delta-theroidian-like taxa in Asia and North America about 120–100 million years ago, and then the Paleocene diversification of relatives to the crown marsupials in South America. This makes it contemporary to some early eutherian species that have been found in the same area. The oldest Metatherian fossils are found in present-day China, about 100 mi. The supercontinent Pangaea was in the process of splitting into the northern continent Laurasia and the southern continent Gondwana, with what would become China and Australia already separated by the Tethys Ocean. Further, Metatherians spread westward into modern North America, where the earliest true marsupials are found. It is difficult to identify which fossils are marsupials, as they are characterized by aspects of the reproductive system that do not normally fossilize and by subtle changes in the bone and tooth structure that show a Metatherian is part of the marsupial crown group. The earliest definite marsupial fossil belongs to the species Parodectes minor from the Paleocene of Montana, dated to about 65 million years ago. For the point of origin in Laurasia, marsupials spread to South America, which was connected to North America until around 65 mi. Laurasian marsupials eventually died off. Traditionally, this has been assumed to be due to competition with placental mammals, but generally this is no longer considered to be the case, as Metatherian diversity doesn't seem to be correlated to placental diversity. In Laurasian land masses, Herpetotheriids and Parodectids remained alive until the mid to late Miocene, with the Parodectids, Cymoprodectes and Cyniparodectes being the youngest Laurasian Metatherians.